So pace of play is a big issue right now, how to speed up the game of baseball. There's a certain urgency on your end. What is the level of urgency on the player's end?
Well, players get into routines, but I think that fundamentally they understand that removing dead time in the game is a good thing for our sport over the long haul. And I think that it's incumbent upon us to find changes, rules that keep pace of play in the forefront of their minds. It's easy to slip backwards on the topic.
Are they making any suggestions on their end on how to
Yeah,
speed things up?
we've had a nice dialogue with the Players Association about how to move things along. As with all negotiations, sometimes you wish it went a little faster, but I think we'll continue to make progress on the topic.
Do you have a goal in mind, a specific goal, like you want to reduce the time of game by X%, or you want to get it to, say, 2.5 hours or 2 3/4 hours?
Yeah, we really don't think about it in terms of the actual time of the game because there's a lot of variables that play into how long a game is. The reason we talk about pace of play is our focus is on eliminating the dead time and having as much action during the game as we possibly can have.
What kinds of conversations have you had with sponsors or broadcasters on this topic, on speeding up the game?
Well, listen, our business partners, generally broadcasters most particularly, are interested in having a product that is as fast-paced and filled with action as possible. I think it's a challenge for all sports, and they're supportive of our efforts in this regard.
Would selling ads on game jerseys be one way to speed up the game?
Look, we've talked about ads on jerseys. Baseball is a very traditional game. We're going to have front of the jersey branding with Under Armour for the first time in the next couple of years.
That was already a big move.
Yeah, a big change for us, and I think we'll have to digest that change before we think about going further.
But you're not ready to write it off or anything?
No, I mean, look, I think you have to remain open-minded. Our game evolves like all games. You have to be careful with the changes you make that you don't offend the traditionalists that are our core audience. But we remain open-minded on topics like that.
All right, well, Major League Baseball was way out front with MLB Advanced Media, BAM, right? I'm curious as to what you see as the next stage, the next frontier of sports media, seeing as you had it figured out a while ago.
We think the next big thing is going to be virtual reality. We're spending a lot of time on it. Our game is tougher than some other games from a technology perspective. But we have such a great group at Advanced Media, we think it's important to try to stay in the forefront of that area.
And when it comes to virtual reality, are you working with companies already? For instance, Facebook, which has Oculus.
We're working with a number of companies, actually, trying to find the best partner. We have our own in-house activity, captive activity, but we do have a number of companies that we're working with to try to get to the best possible solution.
Any timeline for that? Do you have a goal to be somewhere within 5 years, within 10 years?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I see that timeline as shorter than 5 years. I really do.
Okay.
I just believe that the technology is going to accelerate in terms of its development, and I think it's going to be an important part of the sports business in the relatively short term.
I pressed on that because everyone was waiting for virtual reality to do something by now, and we haven't gotten there quite yet.
Well, technology has a way of having breakthroughs. It's interesting, it hasn't had the big breakthrough, but we experimented during the Home Run Derby this past year with virtual reality. And, we had it available for some of our sponsors and business partners. And the reaction was amazingly positive. And I think if we solve the technology issues, move quickly.
All right. Now, Disney acquired a 33% stake in BAM and has the option to increase its stake. The NHL also owns a 9% stake. MLB owns the rest. I wonder what kind of interest there is from other leagues, from other entities to perhaps gain equity in this business.
Well, the business you're talking about, BAM Tech, is really separate from Advanced Media. It's just the technology arm, not our content. But we've had tremendous interest from partners. We just did a big deal with Riot Games for League of Legends. Did a deal with Eurosport that we're really excited about. I think people see BAM Tech as an independent entity as a result of the fact that we have partners in it, and it's an amazing platform for people who are interested in direct-to-consumer offerings.
It's going to be something that you'll develop further and further. Major League Baseball has tried very hard to globalize the sport and has done amazingly well on that front. Do you worry that that effort is under threat in any way because of President Trump's rhetoric, the spirit of his immigration ban?
Well, We believe that our fundamental business objectives in terms of internationalization of the game will be unaffected by anything that we've seen so far. Obviously, we monitor the situation in Washington carefully. It's an interesting time for all of us. But, I think President Trump is fundamentally about being good for business, and we think we'll continue to grow our business internationally.
Have you had a dialogue with him or anyone in the administration about the immigration ban and how it might affect your league?
I did have a meeting with President Trump. We did not talk about it. It was pre the announcement of the ban. We didn't talk about that topic.
Okay. What do you want to see from the president when it comes to the owners of Major League Baseball?
Well, we think it's important to have a good relationship with the White House and support for general business, pro-business objectives is generally good for our sport.
Now, for the upcoming World Baseball Classic, San Diego will play host for the second to final round, and Los Angeles will host a championship game.
Right.
Will Donald Trump throw out the first pitch? Has that invitation been extended?
We have not extended an invitation for the WBC. The tradition really would be for a regular season game. We're pretty bound by our traditions, and I'm sure there will be an invitation extended.